Hello everyone, how are you doing? I hope you're doing great. So this is part 15 of the inventory tutorial series that I'm doing in this channel, and in this part we're going to create the UI for the chests, so for the general inventory. So as you can see here, we have 4 chests, and if I get close to one, we have the message E to open chest, and if I press E, we have the chest UI here. So we have the name of the chest, this is loot chest, and we have the items that is inside this chest, that we have inside this chest. And we can open another one, and as you can see, we have random loot. So every chest has some random loot. This is very repetitive because we only have 4 items in the game, but of course, if you have more items, you will see random items in this chest. So basically in this video, by the end of this video, you will be able to open chests in this system. So before we do this, if you do like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe so you don't lose any new content, and let's start. Okay, so let's create the general inventory widget. So for that, let's go to widgets, inventory, and here let's create a new one. So right click, go to user interface, widget blueprint, and here select user widget. So I will rename this to WB general inventory like this. And let's open this to start the design. First, let's add a size box. So here in the palette, just search for size box. Let's add this in the general inventory here, and inside this size box let's add a border. So search for border here and just add inside the size box like this, and I will rename this size box to general inventory background, something like this. And I will change the color of this. So here in the brush color you can change the color. I will put here something close to black, and in the alpha I will put 0.5. So something like this. Let's hit OK, and now let's change the size of this size box. So just select this size box here, and I will change the minimum desired width and minimum desired height. So let's enable these two, and for the width I will put 500 and 600 for the height like this. And to see the actual size of this, here in the fill screen, just change this to desired on screen. And there we go. So basically this will be the size of the inventory. So now let's add an overlay to this border. So here in the palette, search for overlay like this. Let's add in the border. And inside this overlay, let's add another size box. So search again for size box here. Let's add inside the overlay, and I will rename the size box. So I will put slots size box like this. And inside this slot size box here, inside this we're gonna put the slots container widget that we created. So for that, let's go here to user created. So just expand this, and if we scroll down, you will be able to see the slots container widget that we created. So let's add this one inside this size box like this. And now let's select the size box, the slot size box, and let's change the width and the height. And for this one, I will change the actual width override and height override. So let's enable these two. And for the width, I will put 450. And for the height, I will put 500 like this. And now let's, here in the horizontal alignment, let's put in the middle like this. And in the vertical alignment, let's put in the bottom like this. And for the bottom here, I will add some padding. So expand the padding here. And in the bottom, I will put maybe 20. Let's see. Yep, 20. I think this is good. So this is basically the inventory. So basically here will be all the slots for the chest and basically everything else. I just want to add the title of this inventory, so basically the name of the inventory up here. So to do this, here in the palette, let's search for text like this, and let's add this text in the overlay here. So just add in the overlay, and let's rename this text to general inventory name like this. And let's put in the middle here in the horizontal alignment, let's put in the middle, and I will add some padding in the top here. So here in the top, let's add maybe 10 Yep, I think this is good. And I will decrease a little bit the size here in the font. So this size I will put maybe 18, something like this. And the text here, by default, I will put inventory name like this. And there we go. Now we just need to make these two a variable. So basically we need the slots size box as a variable. So select this and check is variable here in the details. Just check this box and do the same for the general inventory name. So select this and mark is variable. And this is basically it. This is the simple design for the general inventory. Of course, if you want, you can do whatever you want here in the UI. But for me, this is basically it. Now let's do the code for this UI. Okay, so basically, first I want to be able to change the size of this slot size box through another widget. So this is what we're gonna do first. So let's go to the graph here and we need to create two variables for this. So here in the variables, let's add one and I will name this slots container width like this. And let's change the type of this to float. And let's add another one for the height. So slots container height like this. And we need to set this in the pre-construct event. So let's delete this other tool here. And first, let's get the slot size box here. So let's get a reference to this. And from this, we can type set width override this one. Let's get this function. Let's connect the execution pin, and the new value of this, of course, is this variable. So let's get a reference to this variable and connect in the in width override input of this function like this. And of course, we need to do the same for the height. So let's drag from the slot size box here and type set height override. Let's get the function like this. Let's connect the execution pin, and again, the in height override is this variable here. So let's get this variable here, a reference to this, and let's connect in the input like this. Let me just add a reroute here like this. And this is basically it. Let's select everything and press C to comment, and I will comment here setting slots container size, something like this. Let's compile and save. And now we just need to make these two variables visible through the other widget. So to do this, let's select the variable here and check this instance editable and expose on spawn. Let's enable these two options here. Let's do the same for the other one. So enable instance editable and expose on spawn. Let's compile and save, and now let's create the other events that we want. Actually, before creating the next events that we need to create, if we go back here to the design and select the slots size box, as you can see, the width override and height override is 0. This is because the variables here is by default 0. If we select the variable and scroll down here in the details, as you can see, the default value is set to 0. So let's change this. So here in the width, let's put 450. And for the height, let's put 500 like this. And if we go back to the design now, as you can see, now we have the correct numbers in the width override and height override. Okay, so now let's create the other events. Okay, so now we need to create an event to set the inventory that we want this UI to display. So here in the variables, let's add a new one, and I will name this variable inventory like this. Let me just get rid of this symbol here. There we go. And let's change the type of this to BPC inventory. Let's get an object reference for this. Let me compile and save. And now we just need to set this variable here. And for this, I will create a custom event. So here in the graph, right click and type custom event. And I will name this set general inventory, something like this. And of course, this needs one input, the inventory that we want to display. So just select the event here, and here in the inputs, let's add a new one, and I will name this inventory as well. And of course, the type of this is BPC inventory as well. So now let's set this variable. So to set the variable, just hold Alt on the keyboard and drag the variable to create a set node like this. connect the execution pin, and of course the value is the input here, so just connect like this. And as you may remember, we need to set the inventory in the slots container widget as well. So let's get a reference to this. Just hold Ctrl and drag the variable to get the reference. And from this, we can type set inventory because we have the inventory variable inside this slot container widget. So here is the variable, so we can click on set inventory. And let's connect the execution pin, and of course the new inventory is this one, the same one that we are setting here. And there we go, this is basically it. Now we have a function here, an event to set the general inventory that we want to display. So let's select every node here, press C to add a comment, and I will comment here setting general inventory, something like this. Let's compile and save, and let's create more events. Okay, so I want the name of the inventory to be dynamic. So if we go back to the design here, as you can see, we have the inventory name here is this text, which is a variable. So basically I want to set this name dynamically. So let's create an event for that. Let's go back to the graph, and here right click and type custom event again, and let's change the name here to set inventory name, something like this. And of course this needs one input, the name of the inventory. So just select the event here, and here in the inputs let's add one, and I will put here name as the name of the variable, and of course change the type here to text, this one. And now we just need to set the content of this text. So to do this, let's go back to the graph. Here, as you can see, we have the general inventory name variable because we marked this text as a variable here. This is variable, so we can have access to the text here. So let's set the content of this. So just get a reference to this and type set text. Like this. Let's get this one, set text from the widget category. So let's just get this, connect the execution pin, and connect the input in the in text here. And this is basically it. Let's select everything and comment here setting inventory name, something like this. Let me compile and save, and now we just need to create one more event for this widget. So let's do this. So the next event that we need to create is an event to update the slots. So here in the graph, let's right click and type custom event again, and I will name this update slots, something like this. And we just need to update the slots in the slots container widget. So let's drag a reference from this widget here, a WB slots container, and inside this widget we created a function to draw the slots. So here we just need to call this function. So let's drag from this reference and type draw slots, and there we go, we just need to call this function. There we go. So let's select everything and comment updating slots. And this is basically it. This is all the events that we need for this general inventory widget. Now let's put this in the actual inventories widget, the widget that we hold all the inventories. So let's do this. Okay, so to add this in the main widget, let's go back to the folders here, and let's open the WB inventories. So let's open this, and as you can see, we have the player's inventory here, and I want to put the general inventory in the right side of the screen. So to do this, let's go here in the palette, let's expand the user created category, and if we scroll down, as you can see here, we have the WB general inventory widget. So let's add this in the canvas, and it is up here. So now let's change the transforms for this. So just select the general inventory, and first let's change the anchors. So just click on the anchors option here, and holding Ctrl and Shift, click on the right side here, this one, and there you go. Now the widget is anchored to this part of the screen. And now we just need to change some values here. So in the position X, I will put here -95, like this. For the size X, I will put 760, like this. And for the size Y, I will put 800. And there we go. Basically, we have the same size of this here in the right side of the screen in this widget. Now we just need to change the size of the slots container. So this is why I created the slots container width and slots container height in the general inventory. So basically this setup here in the pre-construct, so we can change the size through this inventories widget. So to do this, we just need to select the general inventory, of course, and change these values here. So let me increase a little bit this one here. So maybe 700 like this. And for the height, let's increase a little bit, maybe 700 as well. And there we go. So now we have this space for all the slots of the chest, for example. And this is basically it. Let's compile and save. And now we just need to create some events in this inventories widget, so we can call all these events in the general inventory widget, right? So let's create these events now. Okay, so basically we need to create 3 events here in the inventories widget to control this general inventory widget here. So let's go to the graph of this inventories widget, and here let's create these events. So the first one is an event to show the general inventory, because of course by default this event will be hidden in the game. So we need to create an event to show this inventory. So let's go to the graph here. Let's right click and type custom event to add one custom event here. And I will name this show general inventory. And this event will need 2 inputs. So the first one is the inventory that we want to display. So here in the inputs, let's add 1. And I will name this inventory like this. Of course, let's change the type to BPC inventory. And the second input is the name of the inventory. So here, let's change the name here to inventory name like this. And of course, let's change the type to text. And now we just need to call the events from the general inventory widget that we just created, right? So let's go back here. And let's get a reference to the general inventory. And first, let's set the inventory. So let's drag from the UI here and type set general inventory. This is the name of the event that we created, this one here. So let's connect the execution pin and connect the inventory input of this event here in the function like this. And there we go. Now we need to set the name of the inventory as well. So let's drag again from the general inventory here and type set inventory name. I think it is this one here. Set inventory name. Let's call this, connect the execution pin. And of course, let's connect the inventory name in this input here in the name. Let me just add some reroutes here. And there we go. So now we need to make this general inventory visible as well. So again, let's drag from this. First, let me actually add a reroute here like this. And let's drag from this same reference here and type set visibility. And let's connect the execution pin here. And the new visibility, of course, is visible. So there we go. Just leave this as visible. Let me add one reroute here. And there we go. Let's select everything here and comment showing. Let me type showing general inventory. Something like this. And this is basically it for this event. Let's compile and save. And before moving on to the next one, let's go back to the design. Let's select the general inventory. And here, in the behavior, let's go to behavior here. Let's change the visibility to collapse, this one here, because of course by default we want this UI here, the general inventory UI, to be hidden in the game, and only when we call this show inventory here, this show general inventory, we want to make this as visible, right? So let's compile and save, and now let's go to the next event. Okay, so now we need to create a function to update the general inventory slots. Basically, we just need to call this function here. And I'm seeing here that I spelled it wrong, the update. So let me just rename this. You can just select the event and press F2 on the keyboard to rename it. And I will rename this to update slots, of course. Let's compile and save, and let's go back to the inventories widget. So here, let's right click and type custom event like this, and I will name this update general inventory slots, something like this. Update general inventory slots. So from this we just need to call this function here. So here in the inventories, just get a reference to the WB general inventory like this, and from this we can just call the update slots function like this. Let's connect the execution pin, and there we go. This is basically it. Let's select everything here and comment updating general inventory slots, something like this. Let's compile and save, and we need to create just one more event for this general inventory. So let's do this. Okay, so now we need to create an event to hide the general inventory widget. So for that, here in the inventories widget, let's right click and type custom event to add one, and I will name this hide general inventory like this. And the first thing that we need to do here is set the inventory inside the general inventory as null. So let's get a reference to this. And from this reference here, we can type set general inventory. Let's connect the execution pin. And for the inventory, we can leave as empty because here we need to set this as null, so we can leave it as empty like this. Okay, so now we need to set the inventory name as well. So I will set this here. So just drag a reference to the general inventory. Let's drag this and type set inventory name like this. Let's connect the execution pin. Let me just add a reroute here like this. And for the name here, I will put inventory name like this. Inventory name, there we go. Let me just put in caps lock like this. And there we go. So basically, I'm just calling these functions here just to make sure that we are cleaning this general inventory before displaying a new one, because every time that we call this function, we are setting a new inventory and a new name to this. So basically, I'm just cleaning this just to make sure, right? So now we just need to make this general inventory as invisible again. So let's drag from this reference and type set visibility. Let's connect the execution pin like this. Let me just add a reroute here. And for the new visibility, let's put in collapse this one. And there we go. Let's select everything here and let's comment hiding the general inventory like this. Let's compile and save, and this is basically it. Now we just need to create some functions inside the HUD class so we can call this from anywhere in the project. So let's do this. Okay, so before going to the HUD class, we need to create two more functions in the HUD interface. So to do this, let's go back to the folders. Let's open blueprints and interfaces. Here we have the BPI HUD, so let's open this, and here we need to add two more functions. So let's add one here, and this will be the update general inventory slots. Let's call it like this, and we need to create one more, so let's add one more here, and I will name this toggle general inventory like this. And this toggle general inventory needs two inputs, one for the inventory and one for the inventory name. So let's add this. Just select the function here, and here in the details, as you can see, we have the inputs. So let's add one here, and this will be the inventory like this. Let's name this inventory, and let's change the type here to BPC inventory object reference like this, and one more input for the inventory name like this. And of course, this needs to be a text. So just change the type to text. Let's compile and save. And now we just need to implement these two functions in the HUD class. So let's do this. To do this, let's go back to the folders and let's open the HUD class. So let's go to Bases, Main, HUDs, and let's open the BP main HUD, this one. And here in the interfaces, if we expand this, as you can see, we have all the interface functions. And here we have the update general inventory slots. So let's do this first. So double click on the function to implement it like this. Let me just put here in the upper part of the graph like this. And let's implement this. So this will be really simple because we already created this function inside the inventories widget. We just need to call this here. So let's grab the inventories HUD variable here. Let's hold Ctrl on the keyboard to get a reference like this. And from this, we can just call the function. So let's drag and type update general inventory slots. This one, the call function general inventory slots. So let's select this and let's connect the execution pin, and there we go. This is basically it. Let me just select everything here, press C to comment, and I will comment here update general inventory slots. And there we go. Let's compile and save, and let's implement the toggle general inventory now. Okay, so let's double click on the toggle general inventory to implement it. And there we go. Let me just put this event in the upper part as well, like this. And the first thing that we need to do is toggle the visibility of this widget. So we actually created a function for this. Here in the functions, we have toggle widget visibility. So we just need to call this. So let's drag this function in the graph here. Let's connect the execution pin like this, and of course we need to connect a widget. So this widget is the inventories HUD. So here in the variables, let's get the inventories HUD and connect in the widget here. And there we go. So now we have this visible variable here that we need to use. But first we need to toggle the UI input mapping as well. And for this, we actually have a function as well. So here in the function, we have the toggle UI input mapping. So let's call this, just drag through the graph like this. Let's connect the execution pin, and this needs the visibility variable. So just connect this visible in this visible here like this. And there we go. So now let's drag from this visible here and connect in a branch like this. Let me just put here in the front. Let's connect the execution pin, and let me just add a reroute here to organize this better, like this. There we go. So basically now we need to do two things here, in the true and in the false. So basically if this is false, that means that we need to hide the general inventory. So for this, let's drag from the inventories HUD here and type hide general inventory, this one here, the call function hide general inventory like this. Let's connect from the false here like this, and there we go. So let me just add a reroute here to organize this like this. And this is basically all we need to do in the false part of this branch. So here in the true part, that means that we need to show the general inventory. So from this, from the same reference here, from the inventories HUD reference, let's drag here and type show general inventory to call the function, this one, show general inventory. Let's connect from the true here like this, and this needs two informations, the inventory and the inventory name, and these informations we are getting from the interface. So it is these inputs here. Let's just drag the inventory from the input and connect in the function like this. Let's add a reroute like this. Let me just put this a little bit in the front, and let's do the same for the inventory. Just connect in the inventory name like this. So let me just add some reroutes here, and there we go. This is basically it for this part. Now we need to update the general inventory slots. So when we open the inventory, we need this inventory to show the chest items that we have, so we need to update the slots. So for that, let's again drag from this same reference here from the inventories HUD. So I will drag from this reroute here. Let's drag here and let's type update general inventory slots, this one. Let's connect the execution pin like this and let me add a reroute. There we go. And we need to do one more thing here. So basically when we open the chest inventory, I want to open the player's inventory as well. So basically we need to update the player's inventory. So to do this, let's drag from the same reference from the inventories HUD here. Let's drag from this reroute and I will type here update player main inventory, this one here. Let's connect in the execution pin like this. I will add one more reroute and there we go. This is basically the function. So let's select every node here and I will comment here showing general inventory. And there we go. Let's compile and save. And this is basically it for these two functions. Now we just need to change a little bit the toggle player's inventory. So let's do this. Okay, so here in the toggle player's inventory function in the HUD class, we're gonna finally use the false part of this branch here, because as you may remember, when we press tab on the keyboard, we are calling this function, the toggle player inventory, and this will make the inventories HUD visible and toggle the UI mapping. And basically in this branch here, we have the new visibility of this widget. So basically if it is visible or not, right? The current visible or not. So basically, if this is visible, we are updating the main player inventory, right? We are updating the slots for the player. But if this is false, I need to hide the general inventory as well. Because if we press tab and the general inventory is open, so basically if we open a chest and press tab again, I need to hide the general inventory as well, because later on if we press tab again and we don't hide the general inventory will be opened, and of course we don't want that. So we need to hide this in this false part here. So let's drag a reference from the inventories HUD. So I will drag from this reroute here and we just need to type here hide general inventory, and here we need to connect from the false part of this branch like this. And there we go. Let's compile and save. So basically now we can close the general inventory by pressing tab as well if we have the inventory open, of course. So this is basically it for the HUD class. Now we just need to call everything when we interact with the chest. So now we need to do the interact part. So let's do this. Okay, so let's go back to the folders here and let's go to blueprints, interactables, and actually in the last video I created another interactables folder, so I want to remove this. So let's open this interactables folder and I will move this chests folder to the first interactables folder. So let me just move here to the first one. Let me move here. There we go. So now here in the content, let's right click and type fix up redirectors to fix all the redirectors that we have inside the content. Let's go back again to the same folder. So interactables, now we have chests here and we have this interactables folder. So I need to remove this. Just select the folder and press delete on the keyboard and delete. And there we go. Now we have only one interactables folder and we have chests, collectibles, and the parent class here. Okay, so let's open the chests folder and let's open the loot chest blueprint. Let's open this. And here, as you may remember, this BP loot chest is a child of the BP interactable class. So basically this is interactable. That means that we have the interact function here, the interface interact function. So let's double click on this to implement. And here we just need to open the UI for the general inventory. So we need to call the HUD here and ask to open the general inventory. So to do this, first we need to get the HUD and the HUD is inside the player controller. So first we need to get the player controller. So right click and type get player controller like this, and from this we can get the HUD. So just drag from the return value and type get HUD, and now we can call the function, the interface function in the HUD to show the inventory, the general inventory. So let's drag from this and type toggle general inventory, this one. Let's connect the execution pin, and we need to pass the inventory and the inventory name. So for the inventory, it is this one here, the BPC inventory. So basically this component, let's drag this component here, and let's connect in the inventory input. And for the inventory name, I will actually create a variable here for the name. So here in the variables, just add one, and I will name this inventory name like this. Of course, let's change the type here to text. Let me compile and save so I can change the default value. So for this loot chest, I will change the name to loot chest like this. So let's get the reference for this value here, and let's connect in the inventory name. Let me compile and save, and there we go. So basically, if we press E on the keyboard in the chest, now we should have the inventory open. So let's test this. Okay, so to see if this is working, let's go back to the level, and here, as you can see, we have a chest, so we can test this. So let's hit play and let's go to the chest. So if I look in the chest, we have the message each open chest, and if I press E, there you go, we have the name of the chest, and we have the loot. So basically the inventory of this chest is being displayed correctly, so everything is working. So let's make some copies of this chest to test if this is working. So let me do some copies here, maybe 4 like this, and let's hit play again. So let's see if the random items is working. So let's open the first one here, let's press E. So here we have 11 apples, we have some swords and shields. Let's close this and open this second one. Here we have 3 bananas, 8 apples, and some shields. This one, let's open. Here we have 9 bananas, some shields and swords. And the last one, here we have some swords, 8 bananas, and 9 apples. So basically the random part of the items is working. So here in this system, I only have 4 items, so that's why it is very repetitive. But if we have more items in your game, of course, this will be random, as you can see. So there we go. Now we can open the chests, and this is a loot chest, so it has random loot by default, as you can see. And if I get rid of the game, so if I quit the game and if I play again, we should have random items here. So now we have only swords in this inventory. In the second one we have random loot, as you can see, only shields here, and here, as you can see, we have some random loot as well. So basically everything is working just fine. And this is all for this video. So basically now in this system we can collect the items, we can open the player's inventory, we can drop items, as you can see, and now we can open chests. So basically we have random loot inside these chests, and we can open to see the loot, as you can see. So this is all for this video, and in the next video we're going to create the drag and drop functionality. So basically we will be able to open a chest and drag items from the chest to the player's inventory, or from the player's inventory to the chest, or even dragging from one slot to another in the same inventory. So we're gonna create the drag and drop in the next video, and the next video will be the last one for this inventory series. So if you do like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe so you don't lose any new content. And as always, thank you for watching, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next video.